Marijuana Oil, The Healing Miracle of CBD plus THC Cannabis, written by Oneida Powell, narrated by Dylan Parker and Peter Seymour.
Modern herbal medicine. The use of plants as medicines originates from human history, and archaeological evidence shows that during the Paleolithic period, around 60,000 years before, we used restorative plants. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerians made mud tablets with arrangements of many restorative plants, for example, myrrh and opium, and the ancient Egyptians composed the Ebers Papyrus around 1500 BC, which contains data on more than 850 plant medicines, including garlic, juniper, cannabis, castor bean, aloe, and mandrake. In India, the utilization of herbs to treat infirmities shapes an enormous piece of Ayurvedic prescription, and obviously everybody knows about how plants and herbs are utilized widely in conventional Chinese medicine. The Greeks brought herbalism into the cutting-edge age and evacuated a significant part of the supernatural quality and enchantment which were available in prior writings. Hippocrates specifies 250 helpful herbs in his incredible works, and a Greek physician named Dioscorides distributed a book called De Materia Medica, which contained more than 600 restorative plants. Another Greek, Galen, delivered itemized abstracts on medication which included in excess of 600 plants, and these were deciphered and counseled by doctors the world over for a long time. All through the medieval time frame, physical and otherworldly well-being kept on being upheld for the most part with plants and herbs. This treatment was typically done by priests and nuns who gave nursing administrations, with the Benedictine religious communities known for their top-to-bottom learning of herbals. They tended nurseries that developed the herbs which were viewed as helpful for the treatment of the different human ills. The priests additionally invested a lot of their energy deciphering old-style chips away at herbalism into Latin and creating herbals to be utilized by doctors. The 15th, 16th, and 17th hundreds of years were the extraordinary period of herbals, huge numbers of them accessible without precedent for English and different dialects instead of Latin or Greek. Close by the customary acts of herbalism, there were many learned men of science and prescription who accepted sickness was brought about by terrible humor in the body that must be driven out and discharged. The popular American specialist Benjamin Rush, treasurer of the Mint and endorser of the Declaration of Independence, wrote numerous restorative course books in which he prescribed splashing patients with cold water in the winter, spinning patients from ropes suspended from the roof for a considerable length of time, just as beating, starving, and obnoxiously mishandling patients. He additionally poured corrosive on their backs and cut them with blades, enabling the injuries to be kept open for a considerable length of time, or years, to encourage perpetual release of awful humor from the cerebrum. When King Charles II woke up feeling sick, his royal barber took 16 ounces of blood, and his primary care physicians depleted a further 8 ounces. He was made to swallow antimony, a poisonous metal, and given a progression of bowel purges. At the point when his sickness proceeded, with Charles's head was shaved and rankling operators were applied to his scalp to drive the awful humor descending. Pigeon droppings were applied to the bottom of Charles's feet, and more blood was drawn. He was given white sugar treats to float his spirits and nudged with a super-hot poker. He was then given 40 drops of seepage from the skull of a man that was rarely covered. What its identity was, guaranteed, had kicked the bucket a roughest passing. At long last, squashed stones from the inner parts of a goat from East India were constrained down his throat. Charles II kicked the bucket on February 6, 1685. In the 18th century anyway, doctors tried to turn
Sample complete. Ready to continue?